Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And this video I want to talk about Extraction 2. Extraction 2 is basically the sequel to the Extraction movie, the Chris Hemsworth Extraction movie that came out some years ago. And this movie, like the first one, was directed by Sam Hargrave. And why I mentioned Sam Hargrave is because Sam Hargrave is an American stunt coordinator. And it's also obvious that this film was directed by someone that was so good with stunts, like someone that is a professional stunt coordinator, because there's some kind of stunts, there's some kind of sequences in this movie that are just like really mind-blowing sequences that I was not expecting. Well, from the first movie, there's some sequences that blew my mind, so I was expecting some things like that in this movie. I have a thing about sequels. I'm not really the biggest fan of sequels because I always feel like sequels don't always live up to the standard of the original movie. Some sequels do, but most of the time sequels are not always that good. But this sequel was really good. It was better than I was expecting. There are some things I was expecting from this movie, like I said earlier, because I saw some things in the first movie that really resonated with me, and obviously they have to come in this film also, because if you can give me something like that in that first movie and you can't give it to me like this in the second movie, so like what's now the point of doing a sequel? Honestly, for this movie I didn't have much expectations. I just wanted to get some great action sequences. That was my main aim going into this movie. I just wanted to get some great action sequences. But I was surprised with what I got. I got some really good story. The story for this film was quite compelling and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Because there were some times I was like, wow, I did not see this coming. And the way they told the story was just, it's not a perfect story by any means, but the story was compelling. The action sequences were good and the story was able to keep up with the action sequences, and man, that was good enough for me and I appreciated that. Speaking of the action sequences in this movie were some of the best action sequences I've seen this year. Yes, I said this year. I've seen John Wick 4 this year. John Wick 4 was amazing, but the action sequences in this movie was also mind-blowing. Like, if you ask me to choose the action sequences between this one and John Wick 4, which one was my favorite, I said so mighty God. Extraction 2 are the best action sequences to me. Like, that doesn't take you anything from John Wick 4. I'm just trying to tell you how good the action sequences in this film were. In this film, there was a 21-minute one-take sequence. If you know me, you know I love one-take sequences, because one-take sequences are like my favorite aspect of filmmaking. I love when a filmmaker or a director can make a sequence of like 21 minutes or 20 minutes and to feel like there wasn't a single cut, and that was how it felt like it is. That is one take sequences. Now one take sequence always feel like there's no cut, but there are some cuts in there. There are cuts, but you not just notice it. And in this film, it was amazing. You see the camera moving from up, coming down, without cutting, coming down, moving into cars, coming outside cars, going up in the air. Like, man, when I saw that sequence, I was so amazed, because I love seeing those things, and it was so well done. Moving the camera from one place to another. You think the camera had a mind of its own, the way it was moving. And man, Sam Hargrave, the director of this film, did a fantastic job directing that sequence. That one take sequence was honestly my favorite part of this film. That doesn't take away anything from the whole film. It's just that one take sequence. When I saw it, I was just, wow. Like, nothing can beat this anymore. In my opinion, nothing could have beat that one take sequence, and it was so well done. Cars flying up and down, explosions happening everywhere, camera moving in and out of cars, moving up in the air, going through helicopters. I'm like, how did you achieve this thing? Man, it was so good to see, and man, I love seeing that one take sequence. Honestly, that one take sequence was the best part of the film to me. Like, me saying that does not take away anything from the film. It's just what I like seeing the most in movies, and man, they delivered in this film. If the action sequences are good, but the special effects are not as good, it would be like I'm just watching a fake thing. But the special effects were also good. Special effects complemented the action sequences so well, and it felt like you were in the moments, like you were right there with them. And because there were no cuts, you feel like you're like a fly on the wall watching everything that was happening. And man, that sequence was so intense. I felt my heart racing so much at so many points. I was like, yo, what the fuck are these people doing? Man, it was so fun watching that sequence. Why I'm talking about the one take sequences, because like I said earlier, it's my favorite aspect of filmmaking, and man, these people delivered a fantastic job. As much as I enjoyed watching this film, I had some little issues with it, just very minor issues, and the issues were with the fighting sequences. There's some fighting sequences, and those fighting sequences, they were like having so many cuts. Not the one take sequence. I'm not talking about the one take sequence anymore. The one take sequence was perfect in my opinion, but now I'm talking about some fighting sequences in the movie. Those fighting sequences had so many cuts, and I did not like that. So it was like I couldn't see the action very well. I want to see these people fight. I want to see the punches landing very well. I want to see how these things go. But there were so many cuts and it don't make me enjoy the way the fighting sequences were. Apart from that, the movie was so enjoyable. And man, I had a fantastic time watching this movie. And my issue with the fighting sequence that there are so many cuts, I think it's a general problem with American films. So I can easily forgo it because I feel like Americans don't really know how to shoot fighting sequences as good as like the Asian countries. I could still overlook that little issue and enjoy the film. Like, man, I enjoyed this film so much. Like, my heart was racing so many times. I was on my seat yelling so many times. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this much because it's a sequel. Sequels, in my opinion, aren't always as good as the first one. But man, these guys did a fantastic job with this sequel. And man, I enjoyed the movie so much. So have you guys seen Extraction 2? What do you think about it? Comment below and let me know. If this is your first time on my channel, my guy, please subscribe to this channel for more contents like this. Thank you for sticking up to this time. See you in the next video. Cheers.